Thank you, Pramod. AI is undeniably powerful, but like the greats always say, with great power comes great responsibility. Before we go into our next session, I'd like to give you a little bit of a background about the speaker himself. Sateesh has a master's in quite a lot of things, as I will get into just now. And the next session is also about AI, so please get up for that. So Sateesh has a master's from IIT Kanpur and a PhD in physics from the University of Massachusetts. He has spent over 3 decades in the IT industry as well, especially in information security. His latest passion is to explore the security implications of the latest developments in technology, including quantum computing as well as artificial intelligence. He's currently advising a quantum technology startup which is focusing on quantum cryptography. Sateesh is also a professor emeritus at Transdisciplinary University, where his focus is quantum logic, making sense of the quantum conundrum. So for our next session about safety concerns surrounding AI, while AI is revolutionizing cybersecurity, it also raises critical ethical, operational, as well as security questions. How do we ensure that AI is working for us and not against us? To discuss this, we have Sateesh, and he will take us through the risks, the challenges, as well as the safeguards needed to ensure that AI is a force for good in cybersecurity. Welcome, Sateesh.
So good afternoon. Namaskara. That is to go with International Mother's Language, right? So while they are setting up the laptop, I want to give a context for what I'm going to talk about. You heard, I think there has been an overload of AI in the afternoon, and even in the morning when Neil was talking about it, he did mention quite a bit about AI. And I want to start by summarizing what I'm going to talk about. And let me summarize it as follows. I have been often caught saying the following, or making this statement. A fool with a tool is still a fool. A tool is not going to make you someone wiser. You got to be the one who is wise, who will actually use the tool to accomplish what you want to accomplish. And if you continue to be a fool, when the tool is a very powerful one, you will become a very powerful fool. So the talk today is going to be focusing on how to prudently use AI and what are the issues. And I'm not going to be exhaustive about it. I'm going to mention a few things that one needs to make sure that we clearly understand before we start to use AI. And world over, there has been a lot of debate that's going on about the safety of AI. And I don't, is somebody setting up the laptop or am I, yeah. Or I can just talk my way through, that's also good. No one to hold me for what I said, right? So AI, let me start by asking you people something. Is there anyone in this room, by a show of hands, that has not used AI? I want you to raise your hands if you have not used AI. So pretty much everyone has used, right? I don't see any hands going up. Is there anyone here who has used AI something like, let's say, 3 years back or before COVID? One person, maybe a few more hands, like 2 or 3 people. And the point about that is, it is a technology that is evolving very rapidly. The tremendous speed with which things are changing, things that were not known to us a few years ago are suddenly becoming very prominent, is something that is almost an everyday thing, almost a household thing that didn't exist a couple of years ago. And the more challenging thing about this is that we do not even understand many times how it works. The problem with this is, and let's, in fact, I think it's a good time to talk about some of these things that happened in the process of how AI evolved. One of the prominent events in the evolution of AI was AlphaGo. When the computer played the Go world champion, people who were observing thought that AI made a very strategic mistake, and it made a move that no human would have ever made. And it turned out that that move was critical in the computer actually winning the game. And what that meant is not even the world's experts could have imagined that that move was so crucial. So we didn't understand what the computer could do. The AI system thought of something that no human would have ever thought of and actually won the game. So this goes to show that here is a system that we have built and we don't always understand how it works. And even the experts agree that we do not have a clear hold on how AI actually works. And in that context, if we use this system for things that we believe we understand, we want outcomes that we are comfortable with. If the outcomes are things that are beyond our intuition, beyond something that we really understand, it makes us feel uncomfortable. And we don't know what the consequences of those are. In fact, the debates going on AI borders on many things, including things like existential threats and so on. And I'm in the slides, if they do come up, I'm going to talk about how there are two different directions for the threats being posed by AI. Starting from the very important threat of existence, and our own existential threat is also something that is debated, and it's very real, it's not unreal. But the fact that, and as all of you admitted, you have all used AI, and every corporation, every organization uses AI for doing what they're doing much better and effectively producing more with less resource. All of that is good. But how do we actually make sure that we are getting what we want out of these systems? So one direction in which the debate goes about AI usage and the challenges with AI usage is the existential threat. Another is the very real fact that we are using AI systems every day in our everyday life. What kind of problems are these systems creating for us? How do we deal with those? Is the second aspect of it. What I will be focusing largely on is what are these challenges? How can we reasonably think through those, and how do we not remain the fools that are using AI systems, but use AI systems prudently, wisely, and accomplish what we want to or what we need to accomplish. That is what my talk is going to focus on. So while the system is still being set up, there are multiple problems that I'm going to allude to. One of them is that let me just make sure that I have the sequence right so that there won't be too much of a deviation from the slides if they do come up. AI systems, as I said, okay, likely to come up in a. So this is the outline of what I'm going to talk about, which something happened to it. Okay, so I did already allude to the first part of it. There is an unprecedented speed of transition from research labs into almost ubiquity. Like what was a research topic 3 years ago, after ChatGPT became more or less everyday affair for us. And it impacts all aspects of life, be it from political systems with deep fakes and other things, how it wields an influence over well-established governance of various systems that we have established, to the mundane things of doing what we do more efficiently and better. And the problem with AI is two things. Now that we start to use AI systems in our, let's say, corporate life or everyday life, there are two issues that we need to deal with. One is the threat from AI systems, and then the threat to AI systems. The threat to AI systems is a threat that I will go through in more detail. And the threat from AI systems has been alluded in the past by other speakers, including Vijay and others, that AI systems is agnostic as to whether you're going to use it for good purposes or you have malintentions and you're an adversary, you're going to use it to gain undue advantage over others or become a threat to other companies or other organizations. AI doesn't care. AI provides you equal capabilities, whether you are someone who uses it for unscrupulous reasons or you're using it for a legitimate reason. With that, for example, the cyber threats or whatever attacks that people perpetrate become all that much more powerful by exploiting the capabilities of AI systems. So one needs to be also aware of that. And AI has, of course, I would say that AI has changed the paradigm of our existence. AI is hugely disruptive. It has, in many ways, changed the way, or is going to change the way we are living our lives. Now, we just can't do away with it. It is there for good. As I already talked about, the existential threat to mundane threat to information systems and data and infrastructure and all of that. While it's very easy to get completely swayed by very important concerns of existential threats and other things, what I'm going to focus on is the second part of it, just the information systems infrastructure, and how does one wisely use AI systems to make sure that we are using it wisely and not like someone who don't understand what these systems can do, but it's a toy in the hands of people. They can just use it, and like Vijay said, it's better than, or at least as good as sliced bread. It's easy, and it gives you responses, answers immediately, and you're attracted to it. It's like a toy in your hands. So, what are some of the challenges that we face in this? First, the speed with which developments are happening in AI. And pretty much every day you see that like DeepSeek came and then uh, basically overturned many of the beliefs that ChatGPT had made us accept, such as how expensive it is to train a AI system and so on. But while that's only one aspect of it, even the capabilities of AI systems are are changing so rapidly that tomorrow you don't know what is going to happen. And in fact, to be able to, and when a few years ago, future of technology, you would be talking about in 20 years what is likely to happen, and you had various people saying these are the changes that you will see so many years. But today, if you talk to people about changes that might come, it's even difficult for us to predict what is going to happen in the next 1 year. So AI systems themselves, and as I said, it's a technology that's not completely understood, because even though we are the ones who created the technology, it's next to impossible to understand how AI comes to various conclusions that it comes to, and we have to deal with it. The trust factor. When we don't understand what is happening and when recommendations are being made by this AI engine, how are we going to believe or trust the recommendations made by this system? Its robustness, how are we sure that it is robust? And of course, we need to worry about what threats the AI systems themselves face, because in your infrastructure, in most of the organization's infrastructure, you will have AI systems, and AI systems themselves face threats. Threats by unscrupulous actors trying to extract information or trying to change the model and change the way AI systems respond to your prompts and so on. All of those are going to be very important. So, understanding and dealing with the challenges that the infrastructure face because of AI is also something we need to worry about. So, simply to, again, simplifying the whole thing, there is, and of course this is not a standard term, but I just coined this. What is a usable AI system? A usable AI system should just satisfy the following three criteria. One is it should be explainable and transparent. What is explainable? Even now, I mean, if somebody asks me to do something, the first thing I ask is, why should I do it? What is the reason that this makes sense for me to do? Is something that naturally comes to me. If when an AI system is recommending something to me, I'm obviously going to be reluctant to do it, because I don't even know how the AI system came to that recommendation. So unless this system is in such a way that it is explainable, every decision that the AI makes, I'm able to understand, I will be reluctant to follow the recommendation of the AI system without asking. AI system should be robust. Robust means the following. With small changes in the input prompts, I should not be getting wildly different conclusions. Robustness basically means that to changing environment, to various other changes that can happen in the input, the conclusions that the AI system reaches should not be significantly different. Otherwise, I will not be able to really trust the AI system. And the most important part of it is AI system should not impose additional unmanageable risks to the system or risks to the environment. If there are risks that I don't even understand and I can't even manage, I'm going to create more harm to the environment, to the enterprise than actually doing any good. So these three conditions are the minimum which we should be expecting from any AI system. So this I've briefly already talked about. AI safety basically refers to two parts of it. One is there is threats to the AI systems and threats from the augmented capabilities that AI systems provides. And I'm not going to focus on the latter. I'm only largely going to talk about the former. The second part of it refers to basically an attacker, for example, using AI systems to become more powerful. So what are the challenges that we face? One is changing ecosystems. Like I said before also, AI systems are making rapid changes. Every time the new AI system comes in, there is a change that's going to be there. Also, the ecosystem can refer to the changing technologies in the environment also. How does AI respond to that? That is one of security breaches. There are going to be either completely unknown attacks or at least unexplored attacks that can happen on AI systems, or AI augmented security attacks which we don't know about can also happen. And there are going to be data related challenges. Specifically AI systems depend on good set of data to be trained. And attackers or people who are your adversaries might actually end up poisoning the data that is used for training the AI systems. Data drift, that is, AI systems once trained, it's not necessary that these AI systems will be permanently trained and they don't need to be retrained. Training of data AI systems is a continuous process. So while you're actually training these data systems, and the input data is also constantly changing. So how you take care of the changing data, the input data that trains the AI systems is also important. Integrity of the data that is being used for training the AI systems. And this has multidimensional implications, including the fact that biases are introduced of various kinds, and how one deals with biases and ensure that the conclusions or the recommendations given by AI systems are actually dependable. There is data risk. Not only can AI systems be made ineffective by poisoning the data and so on, it's possible that AI systems within your organization can be used to exfiltrate data by dubious means. And one needs to understand that there is a risk for the data that your organization holds due to AI systems. And these are largely unfamiliar systems to most of us. While the outcome might be very relatable, the systems themselves are unfamiliar. So they are actually introducing new challenges and new uncertainties that we need to deal with. So these are different classes of threats that one needs to deal with. Prompt injection is one of those, and I'll go into slightly more detail about each of these things. adversarial perturbation, data poisoning, model theft, what these things mean and how one needs to deal with these things is what I will talk about. Prompt injection is when your adversary actually crafts a malicious input. And these input prompts are made to deceive the AI systems to provide the information that the adversary is looking for. So it could also be that AI systems and these prompt injections could be to mislead the organization to do something that might not be in the best interest of the organization, or it could be designed to just exfiltrate data or sensitive information, or could be that the responses are undesirable, and in a broader context, these responses might not be something that is in the interest of anybody. So how do you deal with those things? Continuous training and retraining of models, ensuring that the kind of conclusions that the AI system reaches is not necessarily hampered by slight changes in the input data or input prompts is something that one needs to do. Continuous monitoring of input. In other words, you want to make sure that that inputs are not crafted to deceive AI systems is something that one needs to ensure. And that, the third point is also very similar. You have to strictly validate the input data. Adversarial perturbation is somewhat similar, and this is deliberately malicious activity, which is designed so that the AI systems are fooled. So, for example, you have an image that is used to train an AI system. When this image is actually modified very slightly and humanly imperceptible, but AI systems can make the difference, the kind of training that you're giving the AI system is going to be different from when your original image would have been used. So such things can completely mislead and misdirect the AI systems. Once again, to be able to deal with such adversarial perturbation, you have to have focused detection mechanisms, which are not easy. It's easily said than done. It's more easily said than done. But one has to be able to build such systems to be able to use AI systems effectively without having an unknown risk that you're introducing into the system. Once again, this will require continuous monitoring and validation of data and frequent retraining of AI systems with especially validated data sets is also important. What is data poisoning? Data poisoning is basically you in the training of the systems, and like I said, AI systems need to be continuously trained. It's not like you train it once and forget it, because continuously the situation is changing. Every day, nothing is static in this context, right? Everything is changing continuously. If things are changing continuously, your AI systems need to be continuously retrained. Now, when you're doing this, if the input data gets changed, biases are introduced into the training data. Such biases will lead to AI systems reaching undesired conclusions. And making sure that such poisoning of data is not happening is critical, and because the impact of this could be that you're even if it's a simple classification, you're going to be misclassifying, unacceptable biases are introduced, and your decisions are going to be skewed. If you're depending on AI systems for making decisions, the kind of decisions that you're going to make is not going to be helpful. And this will also kind of open up potential backdoors for people to exfiltrate data. So once again, data validation and sanitization are critical for ensuring that such things are mitigated. Adversarial training is within the AI systems. There is a way you can train one system with another AI system so that the one that you want to use gets more and more perfect over time. And ensuring robustness in AI systems is another potential way of mitigating it. All of these are only suggestions. It's not that there are already available ways of doing these things. This is all. And the good thing is the following, right? We have over and quite a few decades of experience especially in the software industry, in building applications, but we have always had this problem that the focus was on building applications and not on looking at what problems can be there. In other words, security was only an afterthought. The good thing that's happening now is that this debate about AI is slightly different in that we have started to realize that AI has the potential to cause harm, and hence, unlike in the past where nobody really thought seriously about what problems can come from the software systems that we are building. We were interested in ensuring that we build killer applications. These applications get used by millions of people, and look at where we are today. And a whole industry exists because of the problems that were created by software that did not consider security as something which should be a part of the design. It was only an afterthought. Unlike those times, with all that experience behind us, here is a situation where people are now starting to realize that uncontrolled development in AI, at least conversations are happening. As recently as last week, there was a conference or a workshop of various global leaders on AI safety. Do we regulate it? Should there be a regulation? Not that any conclusion was reached, but to think, and for us who grew up in the time when computers were evolving, there was never a debate about should we control, should we regulate the computer industry, until we started to face the problem. We started to face the problem, and only then we started to realize it. However, in the context of AI, that's reversed. We have realized that the problem has to be addressed and taken, and the bull's taken by the horn right in the beginning, so that these are hard problems. Like I said, even though people get together to discuss, nothing substantial came out of it. But the fact that these discussions are happening is a good thing. So model theft is people who actually intend to steal the model that you have built for your own purposes and misuse it. And as simple a thing as they will just understand how you are using your systems and use it against you. That itself can be a problem. there are going to be ethical concerns. Because people who are going to use your systems will have no ethical boundaries. They can, and while you might be uh, putting various constraints on what your systems should do or should not do, those people who don't have those compunctions don't need to be doing anything, and they probably will not be doing it. So, dependable encryption and such other measures, such as access controls, etc., and continuous monitoring of all AI systems are some of the ways you can deal with it. So, AI systems can actually sometimes be producing potentially harmful outputs and morally unacceptable results and so on. Those are the issues that would crop up if AI is not ethically used. So when such things happen, people will lose trust, and all the good work that has gone into AI systems will just be a waste. So one of the mitigation strategy in this context, in making sure that AI is safely and ethically used, is to use guardrails to ensure that there is acceptable behavior of AI systems, and that outputs are not biased or skewed towards one or the other belief, or either political or religious belief or whatever, etc. And that privacy protection is guaranteed to whatever extent it can be guaranteed. So some of the, while in each of those I had all of these items against specific threats, this is just a summary of what are the typical safeguards that one can think about. These include continuous monitoring of input, strict input validation, training and retraining, of continuous training of models, training data validation all the time and sanitization of that, focused detection mechanisms for manipulated or morphed inputs, well-defined effective guardrails are some of the techniques that one can, or some of the things that have to be put in place for AI to be dependable and safely used. One possible way to visualize this is to ensure that the training data and input go through some kind of a data sanitizer. And once the data has been sanitized, you send it through a guardrail, making sure that all kinds of inputs are not allowed into the AI system. And once the AI system processes it and provides the output, you once again pass it through a guardrail, ensuring that sensitive data is not being released out to the world, and that you have control over what is seen outside of your organization. And this is a very high level thinking about how one could visualize safe use of AI. With that, I mean, this is probably the last slide, and what I'm going to say is that AI provides you tremendous opportunities. There is no doubt about it. And a future without AI is unimaginable. Its impact is transformative, and there's no doubt about that. However, AI is a double-edged sword. One needs to make sure that we use it safely, prudently, and wisely, and ensuring that all the risks that might be there are mitigated to the extent possible, and understanding various possible attacks, pathways, and other things are taken care of so that AI systems are successfully deployed, and making sure that usable AI can enhance productivity and does it safely is what the goal should be. So with that, I think there is about 5 more minutes. If you have any questions, I would be happy to answer.
If the model has to be reinforced, there will be retraining.
Can you repeat that? I'm not able to hear well.
If the model has to be retrained,
Huh.
like you said, supervised and unsupervised reinforced learning, the kind of resources it will take and what is the time interval probably, that's a really difficult and humongous task, to retrain the models, kind of models we have today.
No.
What I have understood from some of the professors of IISc, even the algorithms are not understood completely today, though they give some really good outputs, but algorithms have not been understood properly.
Yeah.
So in that case, how practical it is to do the reinforced learning again and again for the models which are already existing?
So it's not just reinforce. See, retraining is necessary for many reasons. One of the reasons is that the circumstances keep continuously and constantly changing. So if you have an AI system that's trained, it's not necessary that tomorrow the output that the AI system is giving is going to be relevant, because your circumstances could have changed completely. And so unless you're continuously training the system, you may not be able to get reliable outputs from that system. So to accommodate changing circumstances, you got to retrain the system continuously. I'm not sure if that was your question, because
how do we know, for how long we can retrain? Because for
it
example,
has got to be continuous. There is no, because what happens tomorrow is not known to you today. And the problem is that there is a drift. That is, and let's take a weather system, right? There is global warming happening. So if you are predicting tomorrow's weather based on today's, and based on, let's say, time series analysis of the data that's coming in, you're going to predict based on what has happened historically. That history is changing. What happened 100 years ago is not happening now because of global warming. There is a continuous drift. So the data that needs to be fed in to train the system to be able to predict tomorrow's weather more dependably is going to be a different set of data. So this will constantly evolve until there is stability. These systems are not stable. And the input, since the input is constantly changing, the prediction that you're coming out with AI systems will also continuously change. So the input data that needs to be given for it to be trained has to be continuous.
yeah, I think I agree with you, because the time series data will keep on changing the
Yeah.
way you said. Thanks for the answer.
Any other question? Well, if not, you get 2 minutes. Oh, there is a question here. Yeah. Get a mic.
Hello, yeah, this is Ganesh. When do we see quantum computing become mainstream? Like AI now almost has become mainstream, right? So when is that expected?
Again, I'm not sure I heard the question fully.
Okay. So now it is time of AI, right? So next section will be like quantum computing will come in.
Yeah.
In that state, security will be very differently looked at, correct?
Well, quantum computing already has an impact on security. One of the biggest threats is the fact that a quantum computer, when a realistic quantum computer is available, RSA mechanism is no more valid because it's broken. So if that is the case, you've got to already deal with it, and people have already come up with systems to deal with it. We are working on realistic quantum key distribution systems. There is post-quantum cryptography that NIST has already come out with standards. So there are at least two ways of dealing with that already, as far as direct threat to security is concerned. But the threat to quantum computers itself is something that has not been explored yet, because we don't actually have a quantum computer available to us to worry about it right now. And if you ask experts in quantum computing, their typical answer is, when are we getting a realistic quantum computer? They say anywhere from the next 5 years to plus infinity. So we may never actually get it, is also a possibility they don't rule out. So it's, in my opinion, too early to worry about the changes that we will face because of quantum computing for the security scenario. But already there is the fact that we have a realistic threat to our encryption systems is a consequence of quantum computing. And that is being effectively dealt with.